So you are the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. What are your concerns with this pandemic and our nation's veterans?
Well, I'm concerned about the level of PPE in the VA system. It's 150 medical centers across the country. And it is concerning about the level of preparedness and PPE available across our country as nursing homes become a bigger focal point. The VA, through its fourth mission, has had to provide backup in Massachusetts and New Jersey. Many people don't know that the VA has a fourth mission and can be called into action by FEMA and HHS when requested by the states, where health systems are breaking down or being overwhelmed. And but VA is not in a place where they can address simultaneous hotspots in too many places. In fact, my big worry is that VA maintain its readiness to achieve its first mission, which is to provide medical care to our enrolled and eligible veterans. And there have been certainly concerning media stories about shortages and rationing on an inconsistent basis across the system, the VA medical system. And, I've had to struggle to get, copies of the guidance that Dr. Stone and the VA leadership send out to all the medical centers on the use of personal protective equipment among its workforce. I am very concerned about a workforce, if the VA workforce gets sick or if they catch the virus in greater number, in sufficient numbers, or in sufficient numbers, that's going to imperil their ability to help our veterans. They won't be able to help our veterans. That's the bottom line. And so that's my. I've been focused on trying to get information. The VA provides information in rather elliptical manner. It will tell me that, we have 2 weeks supply, we have 14 days supply, or we have 18 days supply of this or that. But they won't give me actual numbers. And the VA Secretary Wilkie said on Friday that he had a good view, quote unquote, of the supply line. That tells me that you have, kind of a grasp of the inventory. And in our country, I think during a pandemic, these numbers, not describing in terms of how many days supply you have, just tell me how much PPE do you have, and what's the burn rate at various facilities. These things you should know, and I think they do know. And I would say it took me 3 weeks just to get some of the guidance that they've issued, but certainly not all. And it shouldn't take me 3 weeks to get simple documents that tell me what are you telling your people in the field about how you're using PPE.
Congressman, if you are a veteran and you think that you possibly have contracted COVID-19, where should you seek medical help?
Well, if you think you've contracted COVID-19, the coronavirus, you should definitely be in touch with your VA if you're enrolled. If you're not enrolled, you should seek, health care, in your community. And the VA is set up to provide testing. Their testing results, according to the information they provided me, can be turned around within 2 to 7 days. And they do represent that they have enough testing supplies, including swabs and reagents and testing platforms. They've tested up to 50,000 veterans, and about 10% of those tested, slightly less than 10%, have tested positive. And so the VA does have adequate ICUs at this point. About 40% of the ICUs and 40% of the beds are occupied. So there is capacity at the VA to treat you. And my concern is that the VA needs to continue to expand its capacity in case it needs to provide support to the community at large in certain areas of our country.
Okay. Congressman, we are out of time, but perhaps we could check in with you again in the coming weeks and get a status update on what is happening with the veterans in our country and this pandemic. We thank you, Congressman Mark Takano, Democrat of California, Chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Stay safe.